Hey, thanks for coming along and joining. It's Adam here from the Personal Power Project. And if you've ever questioned your self-worth, I want you to watch this video all the way to the end and really take note of what I say. Because once you have watched this, you will never ever question your self-worth again. And I know that's a big statement, but just lean into it and go with me and take something away from it. So I've got this perspective about self-worth that's quite different to a lot of people's, right? So I believe that our self-worth and our self-esteem are actually two different things, and that a lot of people don't understand that. So when something happens in their life that might rock them a little bit, they turn it straight into, there's something wrong with me, instead of separating themselves from that thing that happened and understanding that that's not them and it's not a reflection of them, because we are not our behavior and we are not our thoughts and we are not our feelings, but we have all of those things. But those thoughts and feelings and behaviors never change our level of worthiness. So here's a really good way to think about it. Our self-esteem can be impacted by things outside of us. So we can have a relationship that breaks down and we can feel a bit shit about ourselves. We can lose a job or get made redundant, and we can start to think that maybe we weren't doing a good enough job and we lost it because of that. Or we can go in a competition, let's say it's a weightlifting competition, and we can lose that competition, and maybe we didn't quite try hard enough, or maybe we didn't train hard enough, or maybe our nutrition wasn't on point, and we can be like, I'm a loser because I lost that competition. And your self-esteem can take a dip in all of those scenarios, which is really, really normal, because they're just messages to us that something hasn't worked and there's something there for us to work on, to take control of, and to try to do something about, to improve that for next time. Or perhaps there's a space for us to heal from something because a relationship that two people tried to work on just didn't work out. And that's the reality of life. Sometimes that will happen. No matter how hard we try, things just aren't meant to be. And we put the work in, we put the effort in, we feel like we're doing everything, it still doesn't work. Rather than turning that on us, we can understand that maybe I could get better at relationships. Maybe I could learn some things about who I am in relationships. Or maybe I could learn some things about the people that I choose, to make sure when I make a decision about who I connect myself with the next time, there's somebody who's more in alignment with my values and who I am and what I want, so that our relationship has a better chance of being successful. So external things can affect our self-esteem, and that's okay. Because through life, our self-esteem will dip. It'll go up and down. It'll ride the waves of what's going on in our life at the time. But our self-worth is never negotiable with anybody, no matter what. So our self-worth is intrinsic. It is something inside of us that we were born with and that we stay with our entire life. And it can't be swayed and it can't be changed. And you can't negotiate your self-worth with anybody. The only person who can decide whether or not your self-worth is intact or not is you. And it's through your belief system and through what you tell yourself about things that happen in your life. And again, it comes back to this separation of, we are not our thoughts, we are not our feelings, we are not our behaviors or our actions. Even if things that we do sometimes are a bit shitty, because we're human, we all do it, we all fuck up. We all do things that we think, fuck, I wish I didn't do that. But that doesn't mean that we're bad, and it doesn't mean that we're a bad person, and it doesn't mean that we're worth any less because we displayed some behaviors that were less than ideal or less than optimal. So once you start to make that separation and that shift, you have the ability to stand back and reflect on things that happen. And when you're not feeling great about yourself, rather than going straight into the pattern that we sometimes create in our mind of, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me, which is often rooted in those childhood moments and in that blueprint that we're given, and in the conditioning that we grow up with, and in the subconscious layers and patterns that we've developed since we were kids, because perhaps we heard that from somebody, or we were made to feel that from somebody and we didn't know how to handle it. So it's rooted deep in our subconscious. So it becomes really easy to go to that place of, I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy, when something happens that knocks our self-esteem. So there's your very first separation. Start to look at things that happen in your life and start to look at the way you feel about things and the things that you say to yourself about the outcomes that are happening, about the things that are happening in your life, and start to say, this has knocked my self-esteem, and that's okay, because there's some things I can do. I can work on something, I can improve somewhere, I can heal whatever I need to heal. I can be with those feelings and they're all okay. And I can navigate my way through that, but I am still worthy no matter what. And then let's take our self-worth, because one of the biggest areas that people start to lose their self-worth is in relationships. It's in feedback from parents or from caregivers or from people around us like our partners, and particularly if you've been through any sort of abusive relationship. Like there's a distinct level of abuse, whether that's emotional or physical or sexual, that can really break down your self-worth. But what I want you to do is I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to write out all of the people who you have ever negotiated your self-worth with. So these are the people who you have allowed to teach you or tell you or to make you feel like you're not good enough as a person. Write that list down, name after name. It doesn't matter how many there are. And then once you've done that, I want you to go through that list one by one, and I want you to cross all of those names out, one after another. Don't rush through it. Take it nice and slow. Any feelings that come up, let them come up. Cry them out, scream them out, be angry, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like you need to do. But go through that list and cross them out. And at the bottom of that list, I want you to draw a line. And under that, I want you to make a commitment to yourself and write this down. I will never negotiate my self-worth with anybody ever again, because I am enough, and I always was, and I always will be. And then carry that with you. Carry that statement with you in your mind. I will never negotiate my self-worth with anybody ever again, because I am enough, and I always was, and I always will be. And then remember, no matter what's happening over in this space, self-esteem can fluctuate. It's okay for those external things to knock your self-esteem around, to make you feel a bit shit about yourself. That's life. That's the journey of life. That's always going to happen. Ebbs and flows, right? And the goal is not to try to remove those things. The goal is to try to expand our emotional capacity, so when those things happen, we can see them for what they are, and we can heal our way through them and work our way through them, depending on what that situation is and what that situation requires us to do to bring our self-esteem back and to start to feel good about ourselves again. So there we go. Clear separation, self-esteem, self-worth, never negotiable with anybody ever again. You've made a commitment to yourself. You've crossed those names out. You will never negotiate it again from this day forward. You've drawn your line. No longer up for debate. And then our self-worth, that we can gain some tools to work our way through. So what I would love to do is I would love for you to drop something in the comments of this video, because I'll post this in a few places. Drop some comments underneath the video, just letting me know you're committed to this. You can write your statement if you want to, but you can just jump on there and say, I'm committed to this. I'll never negotiate it again. Whatever you want to say, share your thoughts. And I would love to hear what you think about the perspective in general, that our self-worth and our self-esteem are two very different things. One is never negotiable and one ebbs and flows, and that's okay. And just notice how much pressure when you go through that process that you take off yourself, because your self-talk will change immediately and the way you think and feel about yourself will change immediately. And that's what we need to do, learn these tools. So thanks so much for watching. Much love. Make sure you like this video, make sure you comment on this video, and I would love to hear some feedback. I'd love to see what you think about this. Have an awesome day.